Hey guys, tonight we're sinking into a soft, eerie tale that might just cling to the edges of your dreams. You're heading to a forgotten town where the church burned down, but the choir never stopped singing. You probably won't survive this. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is in your corner of the world. I always love seeing how far these stories travel. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You arrive in Wrexham Hollow at golden hour, the kind of dusk that softens everything. Even the scorched skeleton of the old church looks almost peaceful from a distance. The sign on the one gas station just says "Welcome back," though you're certain you've never been here before. The town has one road that splits like a wishbone around the ashes of St. Luca's chapel. Its blackened frame leans slightly east, as if still bowing toward the morning hymns it once held. The steeple is long gone, but people still glance up, as if they expect the bell to ring on Sunday morning. You're not sure what brought you here. It wasn't on your itinerary. You were driving somewhere flatter, somewhere that didn't smell like moss and chimney soot. But your GPS hiccuped, the highway vanished. And here you are idling near the empty town square, engine ticking as it cools. There is an old man sitting in a rocking chair outside a shop that might have once sold taffy or tires or time itself. He's watching you with mild interest. You wave. He lifts a paper cup in silent salute. On the window beside him, painted in steady hand, Wrexham Hollow Community Choir Practice, Sundays. 9 p.m. sharp, the O in choir has been redrawn to look like a mouth open mid-note. You check into the only inn, though it's more like someone-esque guest room with an aging key and a mint that smells faintly of cough syrup. The innkeeper is a woman named Nell, who has the look of someone who has seen a century's worth of weird and decided not to comment. Here for the music? She asks, casual. What music? You say. She smiles in that way that leaves no room for further questions. It's different every week, but they always end on the same song. Later in your room, you try to sleep, but it's too quiet. No cars, no owls, no wind.
Yes.
Just the heavy nothing of a town holding its breath, until faintly you hear it. A note, sustained, low and pure, somewhere between a baritone and a breeze moving through hollow pipes. Then another voice joins, then 3, then 7, then 12. You rise, walk to the window, no one outside. The church ruins glow faintly in the dark, embers that never fully died. The harmony continues, too perfect for something unpracticed, too seamless for voices that no longer have bodies. The next morning, you bring it up at breakfast. I thought the choir stopped after the fire, you say to Nell. She's buttering toast slowly. It did. That was last October. Then who's singing? She doesn't look up. Nobody who minds being forgotten. You sip the coffee. It's strong, bitter, and somehow just the right temperature. Some folks, she continues, say the chapel wanted to be a theater more than a sanctuary. Yes. That it never stopped staging things, even after the pews collapsed. You raise your eyebrows. You ever hear of the Eno method? She asks. You shake your head. Old folklore trick, she says. If a building heard enough harmony, enough true sound from real lungs, it kept a version of it. Like an echo, but alive. Some chapels remember, some theaters too. You glance outside. The ruins wait, black and calm. So what's your recorded memories? She smiles again. The thing worse than a ghost is a memory with lungs. That night, curiosity wins. You walk the half-mile to the church, just as the last light drains from the sky. The air here has a slightly metallic taste, like the inside of a music box left too long in the rain. You circle the church slowly. No fence, no warnings. It's just splinters of carbon and mossified stone. But the moment you step between the old threshold where, the doors used to beer skin prickles, the sound returns. First a soprano, then an alto, then a weaving of tenors and basses. The notes wrap around each other like braided wind. But you can't see a single soul. It's just the outline of the pews, charred almost flat, and what's left of the choir, loft half sunken, but still hanging on. And beneath the music a rhythm, breath between notes. You're not sure if it's yours. You don't remember walking home. Only the last note clinging to the air like perfume, something sweet and sharp. Something that isn't finished yet. And in your hand, folded like a forgotten hymn, is a slip of paper you don't remember picking up. No envelope, no name. Just an invitation scrawled in perfect cursive. Rehearsal begins soon. You have the voice for it. The dreams begin that same night. You don't notice at first just the usual fragments at the edge of sleep. Unfinished thoughts. Distant footsteps, that feeling of falling from something you never climbed. But then the dreams deepen. You're sitting in a church you've never seen, but also somehow remember. The pews aren't burned here. They're polished chestnut, smooth from years of hands gripping them through sorrow and song. The stained glass windows hum quietly, not with color, but with heat, as if each scene is backlit by something that remembers being fire. You glance around. The chapel is full, but no one has a face. Robes, voices, shapes, yes. But their heads blur, smudged like breath on glass. They're all singing, mouths open wide, jaws just slightly too long. The music, though, it's beautiful. It's dark and soft, like velvet folded over your ears. It moves through your chest, into your ribs, until your bones want to hum along. You try to leave. The aisle stretches. The door tilts upward, unreachable. You blink and wake up with a hymn in your throat. That morning, the town looks different. The fog doesn't lift until past noon, and when it does, it reveals odd details. Claw marks in the frost on your window, a music note etched on your inn door in what you hope is rust. You head to the town archives because, apparently, that's what one does when faced with invisible choirs and dream steeples. The building is made of thick red brick, the kind that traps warmth like it's afraid of the cold. Inside, the archivist Miss Dill asks no questions. She is a long-limbed woman in a cardigan with patches on the elbows and eyes that seem to alert for someone who alphabetizes church deeds for fun. "Choir records?" she says without prompting. "Follow me." You pass through 3 doors and down a hallway that smells faintly of old honey and shoe polish. She stops at a locked cabinet. "I never did figure out who lit the fire," she says conversationally as she unlocks it. Insurance called it divine neglect. You don't laugh? She doesn't expect you to. Inside the cabinet are several folders labeled St. Luca's Choir, 1956 to 2023. You thumb through the most recent one. The paper is soft and frayed, the ink feathered at the edges. The last entry is October 6th, just 5 days before the fire. You scan the list. Clara Bellamy, soprano Edwin Ross, bass Luther Green, tenor Maud Clay, alto Sarah Wynne, mezzo-soprano, and 7 more, all with tidy check marks beside their names, all marked with a small symbol, a circle divided by a line. You ask Dilla what it means. It means they died in the fire, she says simply. Except one name isn't marked. Sarah Wynne, the last mezzo. No check mark, no symbol, just her name. Floating. You lean in, tracing the list again. A smudge of wax or ash. Gosh, you can't tell. Sarah's house is still there, Dilla offers, as if guessing your next move. Up on Wraith Hollow Road. Blue mailbox. You can't miss it. Do people still talk about her? She pauses. People don't talk about much, but they hum, if that tells you anything. That's when you notice the air vent behind her desk, whistling ever so slightly. Not wind, not a draft. A single note, sustained. You leave quickly. Wraith Hollow Road lives up to its name. The trees lean too close, as if eavesdropping. The road itself curves like it's avoiding something. You spot the mailbox icily. It's a shade of blue that doesn't occur in nature anymore. Faded denim sky with WYNN carved into it by hand. The house is small, 1-story, shutters nailed shut from the inside. No car, no footsteps in the dust. You knock. Wait. Nothing. Then you notice the smell. Not rot. Not mold. Paraffin wax and old choir robes. The door is unlocked. Inside the house is perfectly preserved. A mug of tea turned solid with age. A coat hanging from the doorknob. A music stand in the corner. Sheet music still clipped in place. The song title. Hymn for the Unfinished Light. You don't recognize it. But when you hum the first few notes, your spine stiffens. It's the melody from your dreams. On the kitchen table sits a diary. Not hidden, just waiting. The last few pages are written with a trembling hand. Rehearsal again. It's not weekly anymore. They hum all the time now. In the walls. In my teeth. keep forgetting my own voice. They say I was the best mezzo, that I rounded them out, that I was the last piece. But what does it mean to be a note that never ends? Then, just one word in thick, messy ink. Run. The rest of the page is torn, not cut. It's torn by something impatient. As you leave, a small gust closes the door behind you. The mailbox hums softly as you pass. The road bends again, this time behind you. That night you return to the inn. The room feels wrong, off balance. The window is open, though you know you closed it. You sleep again, and once more the chapel welcomes you. Only now, the faces are beginning to form. Not full, yet too smooth, mouths too wide, but closer. As if they're being drawn in charcoal each night, just a little more. And when you try not to sing, the rest of the choir stares, waiting. You wake before dawn with a hymn lodged behind your teeth. Not a tune you know, not one that has ever belonged to the waking world, but your lips form it all the same. 5 notes, soft and steady. You hum them without meaning to as you brush your teeth. They come out again when you stir the creamer into your coffee. You write them down on a napkin at breakfast. Adele walks past your table, glances down and stops mid-step. She picks up the napkin slowly, her lips pressed into a flat line. Where did you hear this? In my dreams, you say. She stares. That's the same progression Sarah Wynne added the night before the fire. How do you know? Nell doesn't answer. She simply folds the napkin and pockets it. Then she changes the subject. You head out into town to clear your head. The sun barely peeks through the cloud line, casting a sepia glow on the streets. Wrexham Hollow looks like an old photo that someone keeps trying to forget. The post office has no lines. The barbershop has no customers. The diner plays soft jazz from a radio that never gets good reception. Everywhere you walk, people hum. It's subtle. It's just under their breath. Not always the same melody, but similar enough to make your skin feel too tight. By noon, you've seen it all. The newspaper stands still, selling October's final issue. The playground with a single swing moving without wind. And the crooked sign outside town hall that reads, "Rehearsal is for everyone." You stop at the library and thumb through a brittle copy of Folk Rituals of Southern Choirs. Most of it is footnotes and choral diagrams, but one passage catches your eye. Certain Appalachian choirs believed harmony could elevate the soul, not metaphorically, but physically. That voices joined in perfect fifths could thin the veil between here and elsewhere. You read it 3 times. The page smells like burnt honey. You're back at the ruins by sunset. This time you're not alone. A figure waits by the broken steps. Then back turned, dressed in what might have once been choir robes. The fabric flickers slightly in the wind, or maybe it flickers from something else entirely. You call out, they don't move. You approach, slowly, calmly, as if spooking them might set off something louder than sound. But when you reach the steps, the figure is gone. Only a lingering note hanging in the air, refusing to resolve. You find the choir list again that evening. You can't help it. It's printed in your memory now, each name etched like a stanza on your brainstem. You check every member online. Nothing. No obituaries. No funeral photos. Just digital silence. Except for one anomaly. A single result for Sarah Wynne on an old archived blog from 2008. She was a music teacher once, taught choral theory. Her quote still sits at the top of the page. A good choir blends until you forget there are individuals. The best choirs, they forget too. You close the tab slowly. That night, you find another letter waiting on your pillow. No stamp, no name. Just, this Sunday, your harmony begins. The key is already in your lungs. You sleep, though not by choice. This time, the dream doesn't begin in the church. You're standing in a hallway under it. The walls are made of old brick, but they pulse faintly, like lungs drawing in a slow breath. You follow the sound of voices. Past rusted candle holders, past broken hymnals stacked like bricks. The air grows thick, warm with breath. You reach a door. It has no handle, just a sliver of light underneath. Inside, someone is singing alone. A voice you recognize. Sarah Wynne. You place your ear against the door and hear her say, "It's not a fire if you never stop singing." You wake gasping, mouth open, but the song's still trapped inside. You reach for your phone. No signal, no time displayed. Just static on the lock screen, as if your device is trying to hum along with the melody you still can't forget, and your fingers, they're smudged with soot. By now, you know Wrexham Hollow isn't the kind of place you leave with explanations. Walk back to the ruins in daylight, expecting silence. But the choir has begun rehearsing early. No bodies, no shadows. Just 12 chairs made of scorched oak, arranged in a circle where the altar once stood. One is empty, the others seem warm. You don't sit, but you do hum, just once, and the note is perfect. The townsfolk nod at you now. Not in greeting, in approval, as if they've heard your audition and the verdict is in. Even Nell no longer asks questions. She leaves warm tea on your nightstand without a word. In the steam, you think you see the shape of a quarter note, curling softly before it vanishes. You check your throat in the mirror. The skin there looks darker than usual, tinged faintly like smoke. That night, you hum yourself to sleep. Not because you want to, because you don't remember how not to. And in your dreams, the choir welcomes you. It's time they have faces. You don't wake in your bed. It's the first thing you notice. The second is the warmth of polished wood beneath your fingers, as if you've been sitting for hours in a pew worn smooth by invisible congregants. Above you, fractured beams stretch like ribs in an exposed chest cavity what's left of the church ceiling, but somehow whole again in the dark. But you blink. The walls breathe. You are inside the chapel, not the dream version, the real one. It's charred but standing, time-worn but sealed in an uncanny hush, as if fire had skipped certain corners out of respect. And the music floats like dust in a shaft of moonlight that shouldn't exist. 12 voices, low and gentle, blending, hovering. A 13th your own rheezes without permission. Your lips part, the note escapes. It's in your lungs now, in your blood, in your name. You run. Outside, the sky is pale. Dawn, maybe. Or something pretending. The trees look different. Tilted in toward the chapel like spectators leaning too close to a stage. You stumble back toward town. When you pass the inn, Nell is already outside sweeping her porch as if she's been expecting you. Rough night, she says. You nod. She offers tea. Not chamomile this time. This one smells like cedar smoke and anise. You've been accepted, she says simply. By who? She shrugs. You already know the answer. You're humming again, by the way. You hadn't noticed. You return to the ruins that afternoon, conscious this time. Your feet trace the same steps as your dream self. But something new glints between the boards of the collapsed floor. A strip of paper burnt at both ends. You nudge it free. It's a rehearsal schedule. Sunday hymn for the unfinished light soloist. WYNNSALT. You turn the page. On the back, penciled in shaky handwriting. If no one volunteers, the harmony finds its own. You pocket it and look toward the sky. A flock of birds wheels overhead perfect V formation, but the birds don't flap. They glide in spirals, singing one long note in a key you've never heard. You spend that evening combing through the town's old bulletin boards. In the back hallway of the general store behind a faded flyer for a missing goat, you find a yellowed poster. St. Luca's Presence. Last Light Requiem, October 11th. One night only. There are no faces on the poster. Just 13 silhouettes, mouths open, eyes blank. A note at the bottom reads, "Attendance is not optional for residents." As night sets in, you begin to feel it again, that subtle shift in pressure, like the whole town is inhaling. Lights dim. Dogs stop barking. Even the crickets go quiet. You walk toward the church without thinking. Each step guided not by intention, but by rhythm. There's a new sound tonight, a breath between chords. It's not yours. You turn a corner and spot someone standing near the choir loft ruins. Not a ghost, not a memory. A person alive, breathing, holding a cassette recorder. You approach carefully. He turns. Late 20s, wide-eyed, a windbreaker zipped up to the throat. You hear it too, he whispers. You nod. I've been tracking this sound for weeks. I'm a field recordist Appalachian, folk harmonics. But this isn't harmonics. He rewinds the tape, plays it back. Choir sings, soft and eerie, but layered beneath the harmonies just faintly. You'll hear it. Single voice. Out of key, too slow, and not human. You both stare at the recorder. I've played this in reverse. Slowed it down. Isolated every channel, he says. The extra voice wasn't there in real time. He frowns. It only appears in the playback. What do you think it is? He swallows hard. Sarah Wynne didn't survive the fire, did she? You don't answer. He rewinds it again, presses play. This time, the voice says something. One word. Clear. Low. Breathe. The recorder fizzles out. The batteries weren't dead, but the device smokes. He curses. I was going to send this to Chapel Hill, see if the acoustics lined up with... Sudden gust of wind cuts him off. Cold. Sharp. Carrying a single note that sounds exactly like your own voice humming. He looks at you. You're not just hearing them. You nod slowly. They're hearing you. You walk back to town in silence. As you pass the library, a lantern flickers behind the stained glass window. You realize it's not a flame, it's a tongue of light, licking the glass in slow musical rhythm. Someone inside is humming. And now so are you. You try to leave Wrexham Hollow the next morning. You pack quickly. No breakfast. No lingering glances. Yes. Just toss your bag in the back seat and follow the only road that winds away from town. You expect a clean escape. Maybe some unease. But halfway down the highway, your tires soften, like the asphalt beneath you has begun to hum. The sound starts in your bones. A vibration, subtle, steady. You glance at the dashboard. The radio is off, but you hear static anyway. Then a familiar chord swells from nowhere, impossibly tuned. It's the same chord the choir ended with last night. Your ears ring, not from pain, more like expectation. You try to press the gas harder, but the car lurches. Slows. You glance in the rearview mirror. Wrexham Hollow is still there. Closer than it should be. You pull over, heart hammering. The hum stops the moment you leave the driver's seat. The air returns to normal. The sound drains out of your skull like bathwater. But the road behind you still leads back into town. You take a breath, then another, and realize each inhale follows the same rhythm. 4/4 time, like a slow hymn's metronome. You say aloud, I am not part of this. But the wind answers in the key of D minor. Back at the inn, Nell doesn't seem surprised. Car trouble? She asks gently, handing you a warm towel as if you'd come from a storm. You nod. Sit. She pours tea. This one smells faintly of lilac and iron. You ever hear of a chapel route? You raise an eyebrow. They say some old churches were built over buried things. Bodies, sure. But sometimes older things, ideas... And when enough voices pass over that ground, the roots grow hungry. They remember the tone. She leans closer. Sometimes they remember you. Later that day, you wander toward the ruined choir loft again. You're not sure what you're looking for. Something solid. Something that doesn't sing back. Instead, you find a door you hadn't seen before. It's half buried under char and ivy. Small iron hinges rusted to a velvet red. No knob, just a loop of braided cord hanging limp. You pull it. The door groans open. Scent rushes out, damp stone, old paper, something faintly metallic and floral. The staircase creaks beneath your weight. Stone worn smooth from centuries, though no history book mentions a crypt below this church. It's cool down here. Quiet, but not silent. You hear the faint brushing of pages turning. There's a light ahead, a low amber glow. You turn the corner and find a room. And in that room, a table. And on that table, dozens of hymnals. Some pristine, others ash-streaked and warped with time. But all humming faintly like throats dreaming in sleep. You pick one up. It flips open on its own. The page reads, Rehearsal for those who could not rest. Beneath it in delicate script, you do not sing instead of them. You sing with them. The light dims. Your footsteps not behind, but within the walls. You close the hymnal, carefully. As you rise, Your fingers brush a loose stone under the table. You pry it back. Inside a box of matchsticks and a note. 8. The note reads, "For when silence must return, light burns the cord. Once." You don't take the matches. Not yet. But you remember them. As you leave the crypt, the walls begin to hum again. This time, not in chorus, but in dissonance. Something is out of tune. It follows you up the steps, like breath on the back of your neck. You close the door behind you, tie the cord, and only then realize the knot has changed. It now forms the shape of a treble clef. That evening, you sit outside the church ruins and watch the horizon. The wind brushes your hair in time with an invisible conductor's hand. You hum quietly to yourself, but something echoes back. It's not a harmony, a correction. You realize the choir is practicing again, without the church, without instruments. They're using the whole town now. The wind, the porch creaks, the dogs barking 2 blocks over. All of it in music. And your voice, despite everything, slips into pitch with it. That night, you don't dream. Instead, you open your mouth to sleep, and your own hum cradles you into silence. You wake with your hand resting on a hymnal that wasn't there the night before. Its cover is scorched leather, stiff with age but warm to the touch, like it remembers being held. The pages are blank except for one near the center, written in familiar, precise script. This Sunday's piece, Atonement in G. And underneath, lead soloist. You. You close the book slowly. Your name isn't printed. But somehow, it still feels personal. You step outside into a fog so thick it feels intentional. Not mist, not weather. More like breath held and waiting. The town is almost silent. No cars, no wind. And strangest of all, no birds. The fog muffles everything except sound directly in front of you, and even that sounds like it's been dipped in something too soft to echo. The only real noise comes from the church ruins. Again, the choir is rehearsing early. You cross town square. There's a woman kneeling beside the general store steps, tying ribbons to a post. Each one is black, curling slightly in the damp air. She doesn't look up when you pass, but says, "You'll want to warm up your voice before tonight." You stop. "Excuse me? The hymn tonight?" she says. "You've got the lead. How do you know that?" Just ties the last ribbon and hums a single trembling note. It's your voice. Exactly. You return to the crypt beneath the church. You're not sure why? Instinct, maybe? Or memory? Warminals. Still hum, but now only one remains open. The same one from before. The page now has additional lines. Lead only when silence refuses. Join only when breath forgets its shape. You are the dissonance they need. You flip through more pages, now suddenly filled with erratic writing. Notes scrawled into margins, measures rewritten in frantic hands. You find a sketch of a human throat labeled with tones and intervals, like it's both a map and a lock, and scribbled beside it. The chord sustains as long as no one forgets their part. The voice drops out, the sentence trails off. You leave the crypt and follow the sound, not back to the church ruins this time, but toward the edge of town. Through underbrush and low ferns, past what used to be a stone fence, half swallowed by moss. There, in a grove, is a circle of stones, natural, uneven, almost like teeth. And at its center, a low stone platform with something on it. A choir robe, folded, clean, waiting. Yours. You don't remember being measured. You don't remember saying yes, but you feel the fit of it already, in your shoulders and your ribs. That night, Nell knocks softly on your door. "You'll want this," she says, handing you a small, curved object. You turn it over, a pitch pipe, carved from wood, burned slightly along the edge, but still usable. "Key of G," she murmurs. She doesn't explain how she knows. She doesn't have to. At 8:47 p.m., you stand at the church's threshold. The fog has cleared, but the silence remains. No wind, no frogs, no hum of far-off televisions. Only that rhythm again, not in your chest, in the earth. A slow, steady beat like the town has a pulse. You cross the line of the old nave and find the choir already arranged. 12 robes, 12 bodies. None of them turn to face you, but each lifts a hand to beckon. You join the circle. Your place has been left open. Your chair old wood, scorched black creaks just once as you sit. The pitch pipe is already in your hand. The conductor appears without fanfare. Not a person. A shape, robed, shadowed. No face. No limbs. But you know it's watching. Its hand raises, and the choir inhales as one. You follow. The first note is yours, and it resonates like truth. As the hymn unfolds, something strange begins. The air between the singers thickens, not smoke, not mist intent. Each note feeds it, shapes it. You realize now that the harmony is building something, not just music. Memory. You see flashes. Sarah went at a chalkboard, drawing scales with perfect symmetry. Luther Green sitting on the bell tower stairs, playing his tuning fork against bone. Maud Clay whispering chords into a jar sealed with wax. They weren't just a choir, they were architects of something ancient and unfinished. And now, you're part of it. The final verse approaches. The others turn to you. Your solo. Your voice rises. It carries something in it, a sharpness you didn't know you possessed. Not pain, not beauty. Correction. You finish. The note hangs. And in the silence that follows, something exhales beneath the church. Not in air, not in word, but in approval. The conductor bows its faceless head, and the choir disappears. One by one, like candles snuffed. You're left alone in the ruins, but not lonely. You walk home slowly, the hymn still vibrating in your chest. Your steps fall in perfect rhythm with the streetlights blinking off behind you. And your breath no longer belongs to you alone. You don't feel different the next morning, but everything else does. You step outside and realize the town has shifted. Not physically, but in the way a mirror seems subtly off after you've stared at it too long. Angles feel mismeasured. Colors are slightly duller, like someone turned the saturation down. The horizon looks closer. The people greet you the same as always, but their eyes linger a half-second too long. Not unfriendly, just knowing. Everyone hums now. Even the wind has picked up the melody. At the diner, you sit at your usual booth. The waitress whose name you've never learned places your coffee on the table without asking. Glance up, prepared to thank her, but she's already gone. There's a sugar packet on your saucer, folded twice. Someone's written a number on it in pen. 13. You glance around. No one's looking your way. But the radio behind the counter begins to play a song you've never heard. Slow, low harmony in a minor key. A cappella, no lyrics. Just breath and sound and a pulsing beat beneath it. The same beat that lived in the earth under the church. Your spoon clinks once in the mug. Perfect pitch. After breakfast, you walk to the music shop on the edge of town. It wasn't open yesterday. You're almost sure it wasn't even there yesterday. But today, the door swings wide as you approach, the bell above chiming a soft D inside. Dust, wood, velvet-lined walls.
Oh.
In the back, a shelf lined with metronomes, all ticking in sync, even the broken ones. Behind the counter, a man in a gray waistcoat cleans a tuning fork with a cloth that smells faintly of myrrh and ash. You've got the tone now, he says without turning. The resonance. I don't know what that means, you will. He taps the fork gently. It rings like a choir of knives. Be careful what you speak from now on. You're part of the system. He gestures to a glass case. Inside, a sheet of music with your name written across the top. Beneath it, the title, Stillness in Fifths. Back outside, the wind is back, soft, whispering. You swear you hear syllables this time. A message. You stop walking, close your eyes. The words thread themselves together through the trees and power lines. When the song finishes, silence does not return. Only the next beginning. You turn. The church is visible from here, even though it should be hidden by 3 blocks of buildings. It always seems to be watching now. You decide to visit the house on Wrexham Hollow Road again, Sarah Wynn's house. It's colder this time, not in temperature, but in feeling like the walls have decided you belong here now, and so have stopped trying to hide their secrets. In the living room, her music stand remains in place, but the sheet music has changed. Now it reads, The Final Harmony, awaiting completion. Beneath that, in your own handwriting, one voice remains. You don't remember writing that, but your hand tingles. Upstairs, the guest room has changed too. The bed is gone. In its place, 12 choir robes hang from the ceiling, arranged in a gentle spiral. They sway slowly, like a metronome tick, tock, tick. On the far wall, written in soot, "You don't sleep under the song, you sleep inside it." The robes stop swaying. You leave the room without looking back. Back at the inn, Nell greets you without speaking. She holds out a key. Not your room key. Older, heavier, attached to it is a tag. Bell tower. You raise an eyebrow. She shrugs. Rehearsal space is getting tight. The bell tower was supposed to be condemned. What's left of it looms behind the ruined chapel, its top snapped off in the fire like a match broken mid-strike. Vines coil up the stone like veins. The key fits a small trapdoor at the base. Inside, spiral stairs wind upward. Every third step hums as you press your foot to it. At the top, there's no bell, just a circular room open to the sky. And in the center, a lectern made of melted brass and bone-colored wood. You approach, resting on the stand is a book. It's open to a song without notes, just lines. 13 of them, you touch the page, your fingertip warms. And a voice hears, but not says softly. You have the range now. All that's left is time. You leave as the sun dips behind the hills. From the tower, the town looks smaller, more organized. Like a stage, finally dressed for a show no one was told about. And in the distance, the wind picks up again. Not a storm, rehearsal. One long, low note waiting for the next breath. You spend the day searching for Sarah Wynne. Not a ghost, not a dream version of the woman. The last unmarked name, the one the choir left unfinished. You start with the logical places. Town records, obituaries, hospital logs. All lead to the same dead end. Sarah Wynne disappeared the day after the fire. No forwarding address. No remains recovered. But everyone in town acts like she never left. Nell is baking when you ask her again. Her hands move rhythmically, folding dough in gentle spirals. She wasn't the kind to run, she says. You watch her? Wait, she sang cleaner than anyone. Bright, but not loud. Like someone playing sunlight through a bottle. You ask if she's still here? Nell dusts flour off her palms. She never really stopped singing. That's the trick. You nod slowly. The bell tower key is still in your pocket. It feels heavier now. At the library, you ask Ms. Dilla if there's any audio of the choir from before the fire. She disappears into the back for nearly 20 minutes. When she returns, she hands you a cassette labeled St. Luca's Fall Concert, October 6th. On the side, a second label, Last Piece, Hymn for the Unfinished Light. You borrow the tape player from the back shelf and settle into a corner table. You press play. The opening is beautiful, gentle, interweaving parts, chilling in its simplicity. You close your eyes and let it wash over you. And near the end, Sierra's solo begins. Soft, strong, perfectly pitched, but something's off. A half second of overlap. As if another voice whispered beneath hers. Not harmony, not echo. Something layered. You rewind. Listen again, still there. Second voice mirroring her cadence, mimicking each breath. But it doesn't belong. It sounds older, hungrier. You leave the library and walk straight to the ruins. The late afternoon sky is pale, the kind of light that turns everything hollow. You enter the nave again, passing through what's left of the doorframe. The chairs are gone today, the altar stones scattered. It feels less like a church and more like a lung that's lost its breath. You kneel near the choir loft, close your eyes. Listen, there it is again, a note not yours. It's not Sarah's, but woven into your thoughts like a thorn in soft cloth. It wants to be sung. You descend once more into the sub-basement, the crypt. This time, something has changed. The room is brighter. The hymnals are open. Pages flutter despite the still air. And at the far end, a new doorway, rough-hewn, carved into the wall, where no door existed before. You step through. Inside, a small room, circular, lined with what looks like scorched sheet music pressed into the walls. The pages are written in dozens of different hands, many overlapping. The center of the floor is etched in soot. When the last measure fails, the voice remains. In the corner, a small box. You lift the lid. Inside, a reel-to-reel tape labeled Wynne S. Private Rehearsal. 10/9. Back in your room, you thread the reel onto your recorder. It clicks softly into place, and you press play. It begins with Sarah clearing her throat. Pause. Then a single line of melody. Tentative. She hums, stops, hums again, then speaks. If they hear this, I tried not to finish it. But they need it finished. And now they're using my voice in ways The tape stutters, hisses, something distorts the frequency. When it resumes, she's no longer alone. That voice, again older, out of time, joins her. Mocking her notes, shadowing her phrasing, she screams. The reel melts inside the player. You jump back. The machine sparks once, dies, and in the static-filled silence that follows, you hear a whisper, not from the recorder. From your window, one voice remains. You turn slowly. Outside, the street is empty. But in the reflection of the glass, you see it. A figure in a choir robe, standing just behind you. No face, just a mouth, open wide. Singing, you whirl around. No one there, but the air tastes of breath held too long. Sweet, bitter, ancient. You're humming again, but not your tune. It's hers. And you realize the choir doesn't want you as a voice. They want you as a mirror. You fall asleep, not on the bed, but on the floor beneath your window, trying to hum nonsense melodies to drown the hymn out. It doesn't work. In your sleep, Sarah's there, standing in the bell tower, holding out her hand. She looks afraid, but not of you, of what's singing through you. You wake to the sound of humming, but it's not coming from outside. It's inside your room. You sit up fast. The space is empty, no too long shadows, no choir robes in the corners, just morning light through curtains that sway gently, though the windows are shut. And still, the humming continues. It's coming from your chest. A single, steady note, low and round, like a cello string pulled too tight. Your vocal cords don't move. Your breath doesn't change. But the sound is there, buzzing deep under your ribs like someone whispering from the inside. You stumble to the mirror. Your reflection looks back normal, as it should be. But when you tilt your head, it mimics you half a beat too late. When you speak a nonsense syllable quickly, it doesn't open its mouth. It keeps humming. You throw a towel over the mirror and sit down, shaken. Things are moving too fast now. You step out into town square, hoping familiarity might cut through the haze. But no one talks anymore. Everyone hums. Children skipping rope hum. The butcher hums as he sharpens his cleaver. Even the dog tied outside the bakery lets out a warbled moan that fits perfectly into the town's melody. Every single sound is in key. You feel dissonant just for not joining in. You head for the field recordist's trailer, your only ally in this. The man who knew something was wrong. His door hangs open. You knock, no answer inside. Empty, still warm sleeping bag. Recording equipment humming faintly. You press play. It's your voice on the tape. One long, sustained note for 2 minutes straight. Then another voice fades in whispering, warped. Not yours. It's not his. Just, you're almost ready. The tape ends. The recorder still vibrates. You back away, not running, withdrawing. Next thing you know, you're back at the chapel ruins. The town layout is warped again. Streets fold in impossible ways. Alleyways stretch longer than before. Sun hangs lower than it should. You pass the old post office. One window stares back, black glass. Inside it, a face. Yours, mouth open. Still humming? You bolt. Turn your steps toward the bell tower. Inside, sound rises from the walls themselves. You climb, feet pounding against each note in some invisible score. At the top, the lectern waits. A book lies open. Its cover bears your name. Not the one you were born with. It's the name they've been calling you in dreams. The Keeper of Completion. You flip to the final page. It's blank. It's just a staff line, waiting for a note. You shut the book and turn. The staircase is gone. It's in its place. Pews stretching endlessly, each one filled. A seat taken by a version of you. 13 in all, each humming, each turning. Toward you in unison, each mouth opens and sings. You wake on the chapel floor. Night has fallen. The stars pulse overhead, blinking to the rhythm of your heartbeat. You try to stand. Your limbs feel heavy-weighted with music. The choir encircles you. Their robes are gone. They wear the town now. One stitched from street signs, another draped in curtains, one shaped from shadows. Sarah stands before you. Her face is clear now, human, tired. Do you know why they picked you? She asks softly. Out. You shake your head. Because you weren't finished? Because you didn't notice the key changing beneath your feet? She kneels. Her palm rests on your chest. The humming stops, but the echo doesn't. She stands. They're almost done building it. Building what you whisper. She looks at you with pity. The shape made of sound, one that never ends. She steps back. You can still leave, she says. But you'll hum for the rest of your life. The choir raises their voices. The final chord begins. Not loud, just inevitable. You leave the ruins at sunrise, or maybe you're released. It's hard to tell anymore where you end and the town begins. The dirt clings to your steps with a soft static. The air is warmer than it should be, vibrating in place. The sky feels closer now, as if bowed over Wrexham Hollow like the lid of a grand piano. Each breath tastes faintly of old wood, burnt wax, and something you can only describe as harmony. You tell yourself you're walking home, but your feet are leading you without consent, pulled by the thinnest thread of resonance humming just below the surface of the waking world. Back at the inn, Nell is waiting for you. Not in the kitchen, not outside with her usual broom. She's already inside your room, sitting on the edge of your bed, hands folded over a dark cloth bundle. She looks at you like a teacher who expected more from a student that failed to turn in the last assignment. You stand frozen in the doorway. I used to sing too, she says calmly, eyes focused straight ahead. Before the fire took my throat. You ask her how long she's known? She laughs gently, but there's nothing amused in it. You think you're the first? She says. This place doesn't need new voices. It needs familiar notes, sung a different way. She lifts the bundle and places it in your hand. It's a candle snuffer brass, tarnished at the edges, blackened at the tip like it remembers the moment the flame died. They use sound to wake things, she says. But light still marks the end. If you can end it. Ask her what happens if you do. She shrugs. Then you break the circle. And if you don't, well, you've already begun singing, haven't you? You leave without responding. Out on the street, things are worse. Everything now operates by rhythm. The barber opens and closes his shop exactly every 27 minutes. The school bell tolls only in perfect intervals of B-flat. Even the dogs bark in polyphony. No. You see a toddler clapping out the syncopated beat of the hymn from your dream no one taught her. You're sure of it, but she knows it anyway. They all do. Oh. You walk until your feet stop again without asking. You're back at the church ruins. The steepleless skeleton looms above, and in its shadow, the choir is waiting. But they're not standing. You're sitting 12 seats arranged in a near circle. Empty for now. In the center, a lectern again. No book this time. It's just a mirror, rimmed in the same brass as the candle snuffer. You step toward it. The mirror reflects not just your face, it reflects your voice. You can see it shimmering, pale, moving before your lips do. The reflection speaks first. No sound, just mouth movement. Did you read it? If you leave, who sings your part? The mirror pulses, then cracks hairline fractures that form a slow web across your image. A tone shivers up from the lectern, passes through your spine like a tuning fork struck hard against the universe. The air pulls inward. The choir blinks into view, robes dark as ash, faces unreadable. They sing, you drop the snuffer on the mirror. It shatters completely. The song stutters. One figure gasps, just a breath. No note, no sound, just absence. You strike the tuning fork you found in the crypt. Ping! The note it makes is wrong, slightly sharp, out of key, mistake. But the effect is instant. The ruins fall silent. For the first time in days, you hear nothing but your pulse. The air softens. The choir blinks out again like stage lights dimmed mid-act. You walk away. Slowly, when you cross the chapel's edge, something deep underground exhales. You feel it, not sound, not movement, pressure behind your eyes. Then a new note rises not from the world, not from the choir, but from you. It starts in your molars, buzzes through your ribs, and as you try to silence it, your lips part, and you sing. You try not to sing. You really do. But the note spills from you like a cracked secret, smooth and mournful, and low enough to tremble the glass in the chapel ruins. You clutch your mouth, but the sound continues threading its way out of your throat like it belongs to someone older, someone else. You fall to your knees on the path leading out of the chapel. No one is around, no one needs to be. The town is listening. The note you've released isn't loud, it's patient, it's correct. The silence that follows is even worse than the sound. You walk again. Not toward town this time. Toward the edge, where the woods reclaim the road and vines wrap around cracked signs that once warned about flooding. The trees here lean too closely, as if eavesdropping. You find the place without looking. The grove. The one with the stone ring that reminded you of teeth. And there, in the center, a platform. Last time it held a robe. Now it holds a box. No name. Just a low, humming presence that grows louder the closer you step. Inside the box are bones. 12, arranged like ribs, laid gently in soft cloth. Pale, clean, polished. Wrapped in thin red thread like the neck of a violin, these bones are not anonymous. They are tuned. You lift one. It sings, not metaphorically. It actually sings a single note, as clear and hollow as wind through a bottle. Each rib corresponds to a tone. You touch another, then another. Each one sings the next part of a familiar melody. The unfinished hymn. At the bottom of the box is a note etched into the wood. Bone harmony trick for binding the unfinished. You remember the folklore? Appalachian choirs? Rituals that used human ribs to anchor chords through generations? Binding song to spirit? You close the box and back away. The melody keeps playing in your head anyway, like muscle memory. Like your bones now want to join the set. Back in the chapel crypt, things have changed again. The books are silent. The candle stubs have melted into the floor. But the lectern at the center now holds one last hymnal, smaller, thinner, bound in deep red leather. Your name is pressed into the cover. Inside, one page. A single staff. The first few notes of a new piece. And below them, a handwritten line. Sing only when breath forgets its shape. You are the dissonance they need. You'll close the hymnal and place it back. It feels like a trap, or a farewell. You step outside. The sky has lowered again, pressing the clouds down like a ceiling about to break. The town is humming, louder now. You hear it in every open door, every creaking porch, every sigh of tree branches swaying without wind. The children have stopped playing. They stand in rows now, facing the chapel ruins like a congregation frozen mid-hymn. You don't approach them. You walk to the bell tower instead. Inside, the air is thick with silence, not empty, but waiting. You climb the spiral stairs again. At the top, the lectern remains. The mirror is gone. It's in its place. The broken ribs now fuse together into a half circle like a crown. You touch it. It hums in key with your pulse. You speak aloud for the first time in hours. You say, I didn't agree to this. The room doesn't echo. Instead, a voice answers behind you. Sarah. I didn't either, she says. She looks the same. It's maybe a little older now, maybe less transparent. She stands beside you watching the fused bone crown. They just needed someone out of rhythm, someone who wouldn't blend. You ask her if there's a way out. She nods. There's always a way out. But it leaves a silence behind, and they don't like silences anymore. You ask her what the shape is, what they're building with all this music. She doesn't answer at first. Then, something that remembers without needing memory, something that sinks itself into being. She sighs. It was never about voices. It was always about vibration. She holds up her hand. In it, the candle snuffer Nell gave you. They want to complete the chord. You're the last unresolved note. She places it in your palm. Her skin is warm. If you end it, the silence will spread. But you'll keep your voice. You look down at the crown. It shimmers faintly. It's humming your breath pattern now. Beneath the floorboards of the tower, you feel them gathering. 12. Waiting. Listening. You wake to a sound that doesn't belong to the room. At first, you think it's coming from outside, against some late echo still circling the chapel ruins. But then you sit up and realize the humming is coming from inside you, not from your mouth. Not from your lungs. It's in your chest, vibrating softly beneath your ribs, like a tiny bell struck by memory. You hold your breath to test it, The humming continues. It's a low, sustained note, not painful, but present, familiar. You move slowly to the mirror. Your reflection stares back. Normal. Whole. But as you tilt your head, you notice the delay. Half a beat. When you move, your reflection moves just after. When you speak aloud, it does not. But it hums. Mouth closed. Still humming. You place a towel over the glass. Not for protection, for mercy. You step outside into a town suspended in rhythm. People pass by in pairs or small groups, each of them humming a piece of the same melody. Not loud, not forced, just ... coordinated. The grocer hums while stacking apples. The mailman delivers with the precision of a conductor. Even the town dog lets out short, rhythmic whines that somehow fit the key. You realize the town has become its own choir, and every breath you take tries to match the timing. You walk to the edge of town, to the trailer where the field recorder accidental witness had been staying. The door is open. You knock softly. No answer. Inside, signs of departure. Unzipped bag, a coffee mug with cold liquid, but the recorder still sits on the table, glowing red, active. You press play. The hum on the tape is unmistakably yours. It stretches long and clean, a pure note. Then a second voice joins. Not yours, not his. Slightly sharp, slightly slow. It says you're almost ready. You hit stop and back away. Yet before you know it, you're standing at the church ruins again. The landscape is warped. Streets bend differently. The sun hangs wrong in the sky. You feel as if you've stepped onto a set made for a different scene. You walk past the old post office, its window now sealed in soot. In the glass, you glimpse a reflection, yours, but the mouth is open. Still humming, you look away. You run. Not far only as far as the bell tower. Inside, the air is dense, dry, and almost warm. You climb slowly. The wood creaks under your weight. Each step sounds like a note struck on a broken piano. At the top, the lectern remains unchanged, but the mirror is gone. In its place, a book. On the cover, your name not the one you were born with, but the name the dreams gave you. The Keeper of Completion. You open it to the final page. It's blank. Just 5 empty lines. One staff. Waiting. You shut the book. You turn back toward the stairs, but they're gone. The tower behind you is twisted. In its place, pews. Row after row, stretching out into a space that doesn't match the building's shape. Each pew is occupied by a version of you. 13 reflections. Some younger, some older. Each one hums. Each one turns toward you. Each one opens its mouth and sings. You collapse to the wooden floor, the resonance filling your chest like water. It isn't a choir, it's a wave. It's a kind you can't escape by swimming. You wake again. This time, you're lying in the ruins. Sky is full of slow-moving clouds. Stars blink in time with your breath. You rise. The circle has formed again. 12 robed figures wait around you. Not strangers. Shapes made of town. One figure is stitched from street signs. One thing seems formed of shadows cast on pavement. Another from the peeling wallpaper of the inn. They hum not music, not words. The frequency of attention. You look ahead. Sarah's there. Her face more real now, more tired. Do you know why they chose you? She asks. You shake your head, because you didn't notice when the key changed beneath your feet. She kneels, places a hand over your chest. The humming stops. The silence that follows is not empty. It's expectant. They needed someone who wouldn't finish the song alone, someone they could build around. She rises. The wind begins to stir. The robes sway. The others lift their heads. They're almost done, Sarah whispers. The shape is nearly complete. One more voice, and the structure holds. You ask what they're building? A memory that sings itself into existence, she says. A form made only of pattern, of pitch, of you. The sky flickers. A final chord begins. Soft, gentle, inevitably rising. And as it reaches toward its peak, you feel yourself singing again. You emerge from the crypt as though rising from deep water. Each step toward the surface strips a note from your bones, peels a cord from your skin. The candle snuffer is still warm in your hand, but no longer burning. The air above is thinner now, quieter, not silent. Nothing in Wrexham Hollow is ever truly silent, but no longer shaped like song. It's natural, real, slightly stale, slightly sweet. You breathe it in like someone coming back to their body. Chapel ruins are empty. No robes, no pews, no watchers in the trees. The clouds overhead hang low, like they're waiting for a cue that won't come. You look toward the bell tower, still leaning, still cracked butt. The window at the top no longer flickers. You try to listen for your own heartbeat. You hear it. Slower than you remember, steady yours. You walk into town. No one hums anymore. The old woman at the corner shop nods without rhythm. The butcher waves, knife clean and silent. The school children play, shout, la frill sounds now, jagged and alive. Even the wind whistles wrong notes. You realize the town isn't part of the choir anymore. You finished the song. Or so you think. At the inn, Nell meets you at the threshold. She says nothing at first. Just presses a fresh mug of something earthy into your hand. You look taller, she says. You don't feel it. She glances at the snuffer. It's cold now. She seems relieved. Good, she says. Means they can't rehearse again for a while. You hesitate. Will they come back? She nods. They always do. But you gave them an ending. That buys us time. You sit on the porch as the sun lowers itself behind the far hills. For the first time in days, it's just a sunset. And no hidden measures, no tonal shifts. Just warm light bending through atmosphere. Then you hear it. A knock. Soft. From the chapel. One knock. Then silence. You stand. You shouldn't, but you do. The path back is shorter now. Oh. The town holds its breath not in fear, but in waiting. Not in menace, but in hope. At the chapel's edge, you stop. The mirror you shattered is gone, but something else has taken its place. A door, old wood, sturdy hinges.
Oh.
On it, a single line carved clean. Rehearsal never ends. You don't open it. Not yet. Instead, you press your palm against it. It's warm. Behind it, no sound, no melody, just a feeling. Like the air is holding a single breath, waiting for someone to start again. You don't open the door. You step back from it, hand tingling. The wood pulses once beneath your palm like a soft heartbeat, then settles. Whatever's behind it isn't forcing its way out. It's waiting. It respects timing, you realize. This isn't a prison. It's a rest. A pause between movements. Whole structure of breath waiting for the next conductor. You're not sure whether that's comforting or worse. You turn away and walk back through the chapel ruins one final time. The ash is gone. The scorched beams no longer groan. You notice the foundation is healed somehow. The floor is smoother. The gaps between stones tightened by some quiet, invisible hand. You try humming just a simple note. It falls flat. Nothing answers. The harmony is gone. You walk in silence. The town greets you differently now. Not as a guest. Not as a warning. You read part of it in a way that has nothing to do with names or songs or roles. They recognize you, not your face, but your silence. That you walked into the fire and came out without a melody. That you held your note and let it end. They don't thank you. Wrexham Hollow doesn't do thanks. But no one looks away when you pass. In the library, Ms. Dilla nods from her desk and closes the old choir registry.
Ow.
She places it on the highest shelf, where no one can reach it easily. In the general store, the humming jars are gone. The pitch pipe you once held now sits in a glass case, sealed in wax. You see a young girl reach toward it, then stop. She looks at you. You shake your head once. She nods, understanding. That evening, Nell brings you a folded paper and places it beside your untouched dinner. This came for you, she says. No return address. You unfold it. Inside is a single note handwritten, slanted like the end of a lullaby. We'll sing again when silence forgets your shape. You flip the paper over, blank. Outside, a breeze lifts through the trees. For a moment, you think it might resolve into melody, but it doesn't. It flutters like leaves, unstructured, disinterested in patterns. You sleep that night with the candle snuffer resting on the windowsill. No music finds you. No dreams echo down into the base of your skull. The night is quiet, long, black, wind down. The breath of Wrexham Hollow fades into stillness. What once sang now sleeps. The pews are quiet. The chapel rests beneath a sky that no longer vibrates. And you, in your room, have returned to silence. It doesn't frighten you now. It holds you gently, like arms folding around tired shoulders. Let the hums drift into the corners of your mind. Let them become soft. Let them become story. The candles have burned low, and nothing stirs behind the door anymore. It's just a door now, forgotten frame between old things. No rituals, no roles, no song. There's no need to remember the melody. There's no danger in forgetting. Breathe in slowly. Hold it for just a moment longer than you need to. Now let it go. Let the echoes unravel behind your ribs, fading like footsteps in deep snow. The choir won't return tonight. They have no notes left to give you. You sang your part. You sang the end. You did enough. And now you rest. There are no chords left. Only the hush. Only the hush. Only